Okay, next lesson is factoring ax squared plus bx plus c. So the only thing that's new now is that our first term is going to have a multiplier. So we can do this by brute force, but that sounds painful. And by brute force, I just mean guessing and checking a whole bunch of things. Instead, I'm going to give you a process that will work every time. So we're going to do this. We're going to find two factors of AC whose sum is B. Okay, and when I say AC, I'm not talking air conditioning. I am talking about the product of A and C. So just so we understand what I mean here, in this first example that you're walked through, A is 4, B is 16, and C is 15. A, B, C. AX squared plus BX plus C. AC is 60, because 4 times 15 is 60. And B is 16. So we want to use two numbers that multiply to make 60 and add to make 16. Those would be 10 and 6. What we're going to do is we're going to take that 16x and break it up into 6x and 10x. When we do this, we will be able to group, as we did a couple lessons ago. Go away, keyboard. We will be able to factor in each group, and we will get the two binomial terms. The one thing that some of you may be wondering is how did I know to do 6x plus 10x? Because I could certainly break 16 up into 10x plus 6x, like I've done here. So let me show you that this works no matter what. Okay, remember, we're grouping, which means first two terms, last two terms. In the first two terms, what's common is 2x. 4 divided by 2 is 2. X squared, take away an x, is x. 10 divided by 2 is 5. And x take away x is gone. In the second set of parentheses, 6x and 15 have a common 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. The x carries along. And 15 divided by 3 is 5. You can see my 2x plus 5 is the common term. And what's left is 2x plus 3. The exact same answer. Yes, it's the other way around, but that doesn't matter. Multiplication is commutative. I can write those binomials however I like. All it's going to change is your common binomial will flip. Instead of being 2x plus 3 like it was the first time, now it's 2x plus 5. In the end, though, we get the same answer. So, process. A is 2, B is 11, C is 12, and that means AC is 24, 2 times 12. So two numbers that multiply to make 24 and add to make 11 are 8 and 3. 8 times 3 is 24, 8 plus 3 is 11. So we're going to take that middle 11x and break it up into 8x and 3x. We are then going to group the first two terms and the last two terms and factor by grouping. In the first two, the common term is 2x, and that leaves x plus 4 behind. In the second set, 3 is common, and that would leave x plus 4 behind. So what are we looking at? X plus 4 times the quantity 2x plus 3. In our next group, A is 5, B is negative 14, C is 8, and that means AC is 40. 5 times 8 is 40. So I need two numbers that combine to make 40, multiply to make 40, and add to make 14. Even though the 14 is negative, because the last term is positive, I still need two numbers that add to make the 14. So multiply for 40, add for 14. I'm thinking 10 and 4. So that's going to be 5x squared minus 10x minus 4x plus 8. Yes, my friends, they're both negative because b is negative. Negative 10 and negative 4 combine to make the negative 14. Now we will group the first two, group the last two. What's common in the first two? 5x. So when we take 5x out, I'm left with x in the first term minus 2 in the second. And let's just take a look here real fast before we actually do this. The common term is 4. If I take 4 out, I would have negative x plus 2, which is the opposite sign-wise of what I need. So let's take negative 4 out. If I take negative 4 away from negative 4x, then x is left. If I take negative 4 away from 8, and remember, take away means divide, 8 divided by negative 4 is negative 2. By taking the 4 out as a negative, I made sure I got x minus 2, so I have the common binomial term. So there's x minus 2 and 5x minus 4. Okay. Up next, A is 4, B is 7, C is negative 2, and that would make AC negative 8. So we need two numbers that multiply to make negative 8 and add to make 7. Those numbers are 8 and negative 1. 8 times negative 1 is negative 8. 8 plus negative 1, which is 8 minus 1, is our 7. So we're going to have 4y squared plus 8y minus y minus 2. Okay. Give me 1 second. I need to pop my cursor in here. Come on. Oh, there we go. I need to drop that down a line. I don't have enough room to finish the example as is right now. Now we can group. So let's take the first two terms and the last two terms. In the first two, the common bit is 4y. That would leave me with y plus 2. And in the second set of parentheses, since I've got a positive y and a positive 2, and I need to have positive y and positive 2, I'm going to factor out a negative 1. Negative to flip the signs, and 1 because, well, there's nothing in common really. Y and 2 are both simple. So negative to flip the signs, 1 because there really is no other number to take. That'll leave me with y plus 2. It flips the signs. We're in business now. We can do y plus 2 and 4y minus 1 as our factors. On the next example, A is 4, B is 19, and C is negative 5, which means AC is negative 20. That is my dog getting a drink in the background. So two numbers that multiply to make negative 20 and combine to make positive 19 when adding them would be positive 20 and negative 1. So we're going to do 4x squared plus 20x minus x minus 5. Grouping. So put the first two together, put the last two together. The common term in 4x squared and 20x is 4x. That would leave me with x plus 5. And again, as I look here, what I'm seeing is x plus 5 and negative x minus 5. Since I need to flip the signs in that second set of parentheses, it's a negative 1 that I will factor out. I take negative 1 away from those, it flips their signs. And we are left with x plus 5 times, if I can write it, 4x minus 1. So the last problem here has a hint, and it says factor out negative 1 first. Every number in this particular problem is negative. So if we take out a negative 1, it would just flip everything around to make it all positive. That's not why we're doing that. In order to use our trick, life is easier if a, the first number, is positive. Okay? Leave that first number positive, and life's simpler. So if the first term is negative, factor out a negative 1. Now, this negative 1 just kind of sort of has to come along for the ride. Like, it's not allowed to ever go away. Let me make some space there so that I know it won't yell at me. So it's just going to carry along every single line I write. So A is 2, B is 15, C is 7, which means AC is 14. So what two numbers multiply to make 14 and add to make 15? It's 14 and 1. Now we are going to group as normal. And yes, we're doing this inside the parentheses. It's fine. First two, last two. The negative 1 carries along. For the sake of simplicity, I'm going to put a big bracket here right now. So 2x squared and 14x have a common 2x. When I take 2x away from each of those, 2x squared leaves me with just an x. 14 divided by 2 is 7, and the x is now gone. And in the second term, it is x plus 7. So remember, anytime that it is the binomial term, I recommend you write the plus 1 so you don't forget that that's a thing. Now, the negative 1 carries. The common binomial term is x plus 7. And what was left if I took away the x plus 7s? 2x plus 1.